Welcome to the Manage Self, Lead Others podcast. Today's episode is republished from the archive. It's one of 50 conversations featured in the new book from the podcast Manage Self, Lead Others. Constructive conversations, true self-leadership and culture you can't fake. Available now on Amazon. Not transcripts, but Nina Sunday's reflections of each guest conversation. And for candid commentary with two sharp AI hosts, visit ninasunday.substack.com. Now, here's Nina Sunday with today's conversation.
Thank you, Nina. A pleasure to be here.
So tell us about the shrinking to avoid and the honesty to attain.
Yeah, look, I think most people avoid conflict like it's this thing that means that when you avoid something, you rarely develop any skills in that area. You rarely get comfortable with it. And I think if you can get to a point where you at least enjoy solving problems, that you enjoy taking things to resolution, because in any relationship, personally or professionally, there will be dissatisfaction. If we decided to set up office together, Nina, there's always what I call the first date phase. We're all going to be on our best behavior, patient, helpful, curious, nothing's too much trouble, a little more open to feedback. Oh, that's exciting because of where we're going. But inevitably, in every relationship, there will be dissatisfaction. Things will move from normal to, oh, now there's dissatisfaction in this relationship. And, I've seen companies coexisting together in absolute disharmony forever.
Yes.
Dissatisfaction, resentment keeps building. And there's this line under that. Obviously, then my generation came along and said, well, just leave, slip out the back, Jack. We got the coaching from Mr. Simon, who said, make a new plan, Stan, don't need to be coy, Roy, and you just go. And in all of that, we didn't learn to deal with dissatisfaction. So resolution, I think, is the key, and that requires some honesty. And ultimately, you want to get back to high performance, having a really red hot relationship and being amazing. So I think it takes a little bit of courage and a little bit of practice to be more honest and kind of have less stuff shrinking away in the background.
And I used to abdicate that when I had a team. I had a team of up to 10 at one point.
Yeah.
And I would just put up with poor behavior that was so minor, I thought, that I would be petty to bring it up. But do you know what? Because the behavior kept going, the behavior you accept is the behavior you condone.
Yeah.
It annoyed me so much that I completely revamped the office after that, and I was able to abolish the role of the person that was doing the behavior I didn't particularly like. Now, It was all done legally, but the thing is, because, businesses change and they have new directions, but I completely did a restructure just to avoid one conversation. Can you believe that?
I can. I've seen whole restructures designed to get rid of 2 people out of like 300 people because, I don't know what to do anymore and it's complicated. So I think the honesty requires certainly extra work. My encouragement to the listeners is to get less distracted by the behavior and come back to, what do you actually want? So I want to have a really good working relationship. I really want to, no matter what, deal with dissatisfaction when it comes up. When we have an issue that needs conversation, I want to set it up to say, hey, my intention is to have a really healthy working relationship with you. My intention is to have a conversation with you that will take us closer to that. And I've got a couple of things that I want to talk to you about that will hopefully help us get closer to that. Can we have that conversation now? To get a permission.
Thank you, Bruce, because I think the key to all those leaders who are avoiding these conversations is to have a template of how to bring it up, of how to frame it. And what you've just done is give us a frame. So that's really lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I add one more thing to that, Nina?
Please do.
If you get the permission at that point, you already have this first agreement to go, well, okay, if that's what it's about, because it's not just about that behavior, it's about the intention and the impact that we want to have. So we do want to actually have a really good culture and a good environment, which means we have to have this conversation. So do we both agree that we're going to keep this healthy and constructive and positive? working towards this. And they'll go, well, what is it? And I go, I don't want to talk about what it is until we both agree that we're going to be as constructive and as helpful and as mindful as we can, so we can work towards this really good working relationship. And when you get those two agreements in place, it's a little easier. There's no guarantee, but if it goes out of shape, come back. Oh, you're just picking on me and this is unfair. What I want is a conversation about making this a really great place to work and better understanding our part in that. So can we please come back to that, if that's okay? So just coming back to the intention if it gets out of shape.
If you're a leader, having a one-on-one conversation about improving performance or perhaps unsatisfactory performance or unacceptable performance, people will defend themselves and say things or be accusing, like, oh, you're picking on me, or you're discriminating, or they'll pick something that is like they're almost baiting you. Have you what happens when that happens?
Oh, well, that's normally the end of it, versus going, hey, the intention of this conversation is to have a healthy, useful conversation that's going to help us get closer towards making this a great place to work. Oh, what are you saying? That, I'm not doing the right thing? Well, at some point, we want to get to the behavior. I want to make sure we're on the same page first with the intention.
Right.
Do we both want to make this a great place to work? Do we both want to have a nice, warm, welcoming culture? Do we want to, oh, you're saying I'm cold? No, I'm just asking you what you want. Do you want a nice, friendly, easy to work place to be? Well, yeah, of course I do. Okay, well, what are the things that you see that maybe aren't contributing to that? Well, I think I'm doing a great job. Okay, well, when this comes up, what do you think the impact is on some people when this behavior presents? And so I don't want to even talk about the behavior. I want to talk about the impact of the behavior. So if people are second guessing you, Nina, whether it's like it's okay to talk to you or not because they feel like a bit afraid of you, then what do you think the impact of that might be? Now, they may have no reason to be afraid of you, but in their head, they're like going, oh, I'm not sure if I can tell Nina today. What's the impact of that, do you think, on those people and on productivity, whilst they're wondering whether they should be actually saying something to you that you need to hear so you can do your job better? Oh, well, I don't know. Well, if you could imagine that you did know. So it's like having your toolkit ready of the things that you are able to add to in that moment. It really does make a difference.
You've just used that really interesting questioning style, which is, if you did know, what would the answer be? Yeah. Well done. Well done. Well, look, the next chapter 11 in how to be your best you is to be more curious, less critical. Now, I'm going, just from that chapter title, I'm thinking that sometimes people they want to talk about a behavior, they go in guns blazing, they sort of accuse rather than ask questions to find out either what really happened or what was the intention. So what's the what do you talk about in that particular chapter?
Oh, it's one of my favorite ones, because in terms of creating a safe workplace, psychologically safe workplace, curiosity is the key. Curiosity, the impact of curiosity, genuine curiosity, because you can have quite a critical curiosity. Why the hell wasn't I told? How long has this been going on? This is ridiculous. When were you going to tell me? So you can have a quite a really angry, unhealthy curiosity.
Right. Oh, yes.
So
it's all tone of voice, isn't it? I'd be saying, could you please calm down and ask those questions in a quieter tone of voice? Well, I don't know. That might be a red flag to a bull.
It can be at that point. So that's another whole chapter. I think if you, again, going to be curious, I want to understand the intention of this conversation. I want to understand, I'd recognize that this report's generally due every Tuesday. It's Thursday. I'm just checking in. Is everything okay? So that really curious approach that's short and direct and to the point. Hey, you haven't seen yourself the last couple of days. I just want to check in. How's things? What's happening? Or, you seemed a bit short in that meeting yesterday, and that's not really like you. And I know we've got this intention to create a really fun, safe work environment. And I saw people shrink because they weren't going to say anything. So I just want to check in and see if you're okay.
That's wonderful, Bruce. That's real high emotional intelligence, and anybody wanting to expand and enhance their emotional intelligence, these are the little distinctions that really make a difference. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our partners who help make Manage Self, Lead Others podcast happen. If you go to episode 106, that's with Daryl Martin from apextraderfunding.com, that educates people in what is a futures contract, how to make money and hopefully avoid losing money with a futures contract, how does a trade happen, different markets to trade, how to make the decision to trade. And in that conversation, you'll find out how it's possible to use OPM, other people's money, to do trading. And Dan Silberberg, episodes 127, 124, and others, has a leader council. And our other partner is the all-in-one CRM Segwick, which goes beyond just data storage. Want to scale and grow with automated business processes? Meet Segwick, the new CRM designed for complex sales, onboarding, and customer management, an all-in-one platform transforming how you manage customer interactions. Segwick provides tools for scheduling appointments, managing client follow-ups, handling customer queries, all in one intuitive interface. And here's the good news. For a reduced fee on your subscription, contact Segwick, that's SEGWIK, using my exclusive link, segwick.com/Nina Sunday. Use the code Nina Sunday for Daryl Martin, apextraderfunding.com, and also with Dan Silberberg's Leader Council. So back to our episode. The other chapter now in your book that I'd like to mention is being more grateful, less cynical, because I've got clients who do things like give their staff members a day off on their birthday.
Yeah.
And they're finding that what they've, whispered to me is they don't feel as if the staff are grateful for that. I mean, we don't want them to be groveling, but they still vent as if, it's not a good place to work. And yet they get best employee awards, and they do all these extra things for them that you wouldn't hear is standard in workplaces. So it seemed to be that the more they are generous, the less satisfied the team members are.
Yeah, look, I love this paradox because I listen to leaders all over the world share some of the same things, and I challenge them with, isn't it funny that we're talking about gratefulness in such a cynical way? And it was always this fun conversation, it doesn't matter what we do for them, all they do is want more, more, more. We give them this and then that's not enough. They don't even say thank you. They're so entitled. And now we sound not curious. We sound critical. We don't sound grateful. Now we sound cynical. And I talk about the meeting before and after the meeting. We can be amazing in the meeting. It's like the job interview, or, we go to the meeting and go, okay, that's really good. Thanks so much for your proposal. We'll go away as a team and have a look at it. And what do you say after the meeting? Do you go, hey, I'm really grateful he came in. I'm not excited about what he presented in terms of his proposal. I'm not sure we could use that as a company, but I think I'd like to ask a few more questions. We'll go away and read it if everyone can, and then we'll come back and let's just put our curious hats on. Does it actually satisfy the goal that we want to achieve? Does it actually help us advance that? So if that's what I said in the meeting and I say that after the meeting to the team, there's an absolute congruence. There's like a safety in that, versus if I leave the corridor and I go, oh my God, that's an hour of my life I will never get back again. Here we go. He clearly didn't listen to the brief. He's all over the shop. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'd hate to be him because surely he's starving. I don't reckon he's getting too many of those over the line. You'd be stupid to say yes to that, wouldn't you? Like if the cynicism shuts things down, and yet quite often we role model cynicism and ungratefulness ourselves. So the pressure on leaders, who are you being while you're doing what you're doing? What do you demonstrate as gratefulness? Do you go to them and say, hey, how was your birthday? Awesome. It's exciting to be able to do this as a company, and it's nice to hear the stories that people have on their birthdays, and there's an interaction, another excuse for a curious conversation. They may still not even say thank you at the end because we live in a different world to what you and I grew up in, but it gets a like. It's a good thing, and it's an interaction, because giving people a day off and not having a relationship with them it's kind of like I've outsourced I'll buy you this day off, and then
Yes.
you
It's
should
like
be
parents that
grateful.
give their children gifts but don't give them love.
It becomes a bit parent-child, and I've
Yeah.
seen it more in the last decade where, and I respectfully say to leaders, it's like, well, thank you for sharing that with me because I need to get a really good brief before I work with a client. And when I know them very well, I'll just go, well, you sound like a cranky parent.
And this leads me to the next chapter in your book, more acknowledgement and less dismissal of your best you. So people, because they also say if you give a team member as a leader, a team member appreciation and a compliment and acknowledgement, you should make sure you do it in front of other team members, not just one-on-one. You can do it one-on-one, but also include it in front of the team. So any
Yeah.
thoughts around that?
I think in our culture, Australia, people really, because we have such a really cynical base, is this real or genuine? Is this more about my boss publicly outing me?
Oh.
So in Australia versus most other countries in the world, so depending on where you're listening from,
We've got 50% of our listeners are North America,
yeah,
and we've got
great,
a smattering in Europe, Asia, and Africa.
great.
I don't know about Antarctica yet.
No, okay. And look, I haven't worked professionally in Africa, but a lot of work in the United States. I own businesses in Canada. Is that in those countries, Asia, the public, hey, I just want to say, Nina, congratulations. Some of you may not be aware that Nina's done this extra work and she's been acknowledged for this and doing that. Aussies like that a bit, but when things matter, we have lots of words to describe it. So in Australia, we have lots of words to describe genuine. You're the real deal, you're fair income, you're true blue, you're rigid, you're solid. Like we have all this language because it matters to us. So I think in Australia, I'm a little more cautious to do the public. I will always do the private. Hey,
That's a very interesting distinction, Bruce. Very
I've got a
good.
moment. Have you got a minute, Nina? Yeah, I've got some feedback for you. Oh, what is it? You're amazing. You rock. Congratulations. I just saw that you got that award, and how cool is that? And I mean, I still then, and I'm back to my language patterns again that I teach leaders, the impact of what you're doing is significant. You're making some of this education available and affordable to people, and this is really cool. Long may you continue that. And that's like and I know we're doing this on a podcast, but I said when we caught up today, I said that to you privately. So I think it's always problems in private, praise in Australia in private too, and then public.
And then maybe ask permission. Is it okay if I
bring it up at the meeting,
bring it up at the next group meeting?
In the newsletter or
That's
whatever.
a very interesting distinction, Bruce. And how is it that you've developed your repertoire of language patterns? Is it from NLP or just along the way?
I continually study. I'm one of a very few people in the world that have been self-employed in my own businesses. By age 23, I had 140 staff and I had different sites and outlets and manufacturing. And then I've owned supermarkets. I've had 7-Eleven franchises, and I'm heavily invested in the Learn to Swim business here in Australia and also in Canada. So I've been a boss. So I'm not just talking to people about, and I still am a boss.
You've got lived experience.
Yeah, my own lived experience, and then learning what works, and then talking to my clients, and then sharing that. And just, you can learn a lot just by listening and watching and testing to see what works. And yes, everyone's different, but the science can be very much the same. The principle of focusing on intention and impact and not the big long list of behaviors that we're supposed to do leaves people to think about their behavior more instead of me just nagging them about their behavior. What's the outcome you want? What do you want to be famous for? What does this look like in your department? What's your intention? What's your goal that's written down? Because even a shopping list is written down because you don't want to waste 20 minutes at the shopping centre. That's a goal. This is a nice idea. When you go down with a few nice ideas, I think I need a chicken and some eggs and some butter. And you don't get any of those, but you get 8 other things because you had this nice idea of going to the shop and getting some groceries. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, look, the other chapter that I want, before we finish our conversation,
sure,
and I think this is really the key to everything, more forgiveness, less grudges.
I think that when you realize that forgiveness is something that is completely selfish, that you do for yourself and not for anyone else, then that's the best thing ever. And, even in radical forgiveness, you don't even need to tell the other person that you've forgiven them. That's kind of this power assertion over those people. This is my belief. And
Oh, yeah, that's very condescending. I forgive you. It's like,
yes, yeah. So
I think it's a
I'm clearly
personal
more
thing that you
enlightened
do.
and sophisticated than you are, you moron. That's why I left you in the first place, or whatever, or that's why I'm in this team and you're in that team. So I think that is, and the old cliche that goes with that I regularly share and remember for myself. If I feel like why am I hanging on to this? I've just got to let go of that. It's the old cliche that, not forgiving someone is like drinking a cup of poison, hoping it will kill someone else.
That's right.
It really doesn't.
Well, look, thank you, Bruce. It's been full of wisdom. I really appreciate it. You've really kind of nailed a number of things here. I'm really pleased we had this conversation. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much. It's nice to be doing this with you after all these years. So,
thank you, Bruce.
Pleasure.
It's an honor.
Manage, Self-Lead Others has launched the book. It's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Not just a collection of transcripts, Nina Sunday adds her own reflections about each guest conversation. Plus, you might like to join Nina on her Substack channel, ninasunday.substack.com, for candid, behind-the-scenes conversations with two sharp AI hosts who riff, question, and bounce around ideas sparked by the published podcast episode. And if you're looking for a conference speaker or workshop facilitator who can up-level your team in Australia or around the world, visit brainpowertraining.com.au or ninasunday.com. Until you tune in next time.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.